Good evening, Super Horror family, and welcome to another episode of Whispers in the Dark. As usual, I, Eddie, will be your host, prepared to be guided through a life of one of the scariest serial killers in American history, a man whose crimes were so disgusting he earned the title the Vampire of Sacramento. Richard Trenton Chase, born on May 23, 1950, was the twisted figure who haunted the streets of Sacramento, California. An American serial killer, cannibal, and necrophile, he left a grisly trail of 6 brutal murders within the chilling span of just 1 month, giving him his vampire title. His bloodlust knew no bounds as he gruesomely drank the blood of his victims and devoured their remains. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In this bone-chilling look into Richard Chase's life, we'll uncover the nightmarish depths of human depravity and explore the macabre world of a man who became a living embodiment of horror. So dim the lights, grab your blanket, and prepare to enter the terrifying world of the Vampire of Sacramento. As we begin our investigation of Richard Chase's life, we venture back into his hometown of Sacramento, California. By the age of 5, he already displayed alarming signs of the McDonald triad: animal cruelty, bedwetting, and fire setting. The theory suggests that there is a connection between these 3 disturbing behaviors and the development of violent psychopathy. Like a ticking time bomb, young Chase was unwittingly laying the groundwork for the monstrous acts that he would eventually commit as an adult. As he entered the difficult world of adolescence, Chase's descent into darkness accelerated, fueled by a heavy drug habit that would only serve to further distort his twisted psyche. As he matured into an adult, he became plagued by hypochondria, suffering from bizarre and unsettling delusions. He would often complain that his heart would spontaneously stop beating, or that someone had maliciously stolen his pulmonary artery. Chase's twisted mind led him to believe that holding oranges to his head would allow vitamin C to be directly absorbed into his brain, providing him with the sustenance he craved. His descent into madness continued as he became convinced that his cranial bones had separated and were moving beneath his skin. In a desperate attempt to monitor this gruesome activity, he shaved his head, allowing him an unobstructed view of his morbid fantasies. His neuroticism over these fantasies continued, and he found himself briefly in an institution in 1973. His time in the institution proved to not have been effective, as his dark obsession with blood reached terrifying new heights in 1976, when he was involuntarily committed to a mental institution after injecting rabbit's blood directly into his veins. The hospital staff, both fascinated and horrified by his fixation, fittingly nicknamed him Dracula. As hard as it is to believe, within the institution's oppressive confines, Chase's bloodlust actually grew stronger. He brutally broke the necks of 2 birds he snatched through the window and drank their blood. Even therapy dogs were not safe from his twisted desires, as he extracted their blood using stolen syringes. Eventually diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, Chase underwent a series of treatments involving potent psychotropic drugs. In a fateful decision, he was deemed no longer a threat to society or himself in 1976. He was released into his mother's care. His mother, misguided in her attempts to help her son, weaned him off his medication and secured an apartment for him. Initially, Chase shared the space with roommates, but his unsettling behavior drove them away, leaving him alone with his demons. In mid-1977, Chase was stopped and arrested on a reservation in the Pyramid Lake, Nevada area. His body had blood smeared all over it, and a bucket of cow's blood was found in his truck. Chase evaded any charges, setting the stage for the horrors yet to come. Things took a turn from crazy to deadly on December 29, 1977, as Richard Chase embarked on a horrifying murder spree. His first known victim, Ambrose Griffin, a 51-year-old engineer and father of 2, met his end in a ruthless drive-by shooting, but Chase's twisted rampage was sadly only beginning. 2 weeks later, Chase attempted to enter a woman's home, but finding her door was locked, he walked away. He would eventually reveal to detectives that he interpreted locked doors as a sign he was unwelcome. while unlocked doors served as an open invitation for him to enter, which is eerily in step with vampire lore. On one terrifying occasion, a couple returning home caught Chase in the act of ransacking their belongings. In a grotesque display of depravity, he had also urinated and defecated on their infant child's bed and clothing. Chase fled and got away. The bloodshed continued on January 23, 1978, when Chase broke into Teresa Wallen's home. She was 3 months pregnant. Wallen was shot 3 times before Chase committed unspeakable acts, engaging in necrophilia and mutilating her corpse with a butcher's knife. He removed her organs, drank her blood, and further defiled her body with animal waste. Just days later, on January 27th, Chase invaded the home of 38-year-old Evelyn Murath. Inside, he encountered her friend, Danny Meredith, and shot him dead. Next, Chase mercilessly killed Murath, her 6-year-old son Jason, and her 22-year-old nephew, David Ferreira. The carnage didn't end there, as he mutilated and desecrated the bodies. A visitor's knock on the door sent Chase fleeing in Meredith's car, taking Ferreira's body with him. The visitor's frantic call for help led police to the gruesome scene. Investigators found Chase's handprints and shoe prints in Murath's blood. He was soon arrested, and a search of his apartment revealed a sickening sight. The walls, floor, ceiling, refrigerator, and all of Chase's eating and drinking utensils were drenched in blood. In the aftermath of Richard Chase's gruesome murder spree, he faced trial in 1979 on 6 counts of murder. Desperate to avoid the death penalty, the defense aimed for a second-degree murder conviction, which would result in a life sentence. They built their case on Chase's long history of mental illness, arguing that his heinous acts were not premeditated. However, on May 8, 1979, the jury delivered the verdict: guilty on all 6 counts of first-degree murder. Rejecting the insanity defense, they sentenced Chase to die in the gas chamber. Even among hardened criminals, Chase was an object of fear. His fellow inmates, terrified by the grisly nature of his crimes, reportedly tried to pressure him into taking his own life. While in prison, Chase granted a series of interviews to Robert K. Ressler. During these eerie conversations, he spoke of his paranoia surrounding Nazis and UFOs. He claimed that though he had killed, it wasn't his fault. He had been forced to kill to stay alive, a choice he believed anyone would make. He bizarrely requested a radar gun to help him catch the Nazi UFOs, insisting that the Nazis should stand trial for the murders. Chase also gave Ressler a large quantity of macaroni and cheese, which he had been hoarding in his pockets, convinced that the prison officials were in league with the Nazis and trying to poison him. Then, on December 26, 1980, Richard Chase met his fate. Guards discovered his lifeless body in his prison cell, the victim of a self-inflicted overdose of prescribed medications. The nightmare of the Vampire of Sacramento had finally come to an end. And with that chilling account, we've reached the end of another episode of Whispers in the Dark. I want to thank you for joining me on tonight's journey, and I hope you tune in next time for more terrifying tales that'll make your blood run cold. Until then, I hope you stay safe, because you are important, and I hope you sleep well. But, on this show, sweet dreams are not guaranteed. Good night.